Okay, welcome back to Silence of the Lambs, The Silence of the Lambs. And this movie is directed by Jonathan Demme, and it's obviously based off of the Thomas Harris novel. The first Thomas Harris of this series novel to be adapted was Manhunter, the Michael Mann film. That was adapted from the book in the series called Red Dragon, which was actually the first book in his now what they call the Lecter series, even though Hannibal Lecter is a very, very small character, a small part of that first book. This was even though Manhunter was the first film, this movie's a rough sequel. Not really. They cast Anthony Hopkins to play Hannibal Lecter, to where in Manhunter it was, Brian Cox. And there are people to this day who prefer Brian Cox, his Hannibal Lecter, to Anthony Hopkins. But this was the big one. This was the one. Silence of the Lambs was the Oscar contender. This won Best Picture at the Oscar, and a lot of people consider it a horror film. So ergo, a horror movie winning Best Picture at the Oscars, it just doesn't happen. So it just made history in a big way. Even though back then, and still a lot of people don't consider it a horror film. It's like, oh, it's not a horror film. It's a crime thriller. It's a psychological thriller. You see, because it's not a horror. It's good. You see, a horror film can't be good. You know, that's why they have that term elevated horror now, because it's like, well, it's elevation. You see, you're high in the sky and you're high on the oxygen and ooh, gravity, and so it's better, it's good, and because it's just horror though, you take the elevation off of it and it's no good, it's horrific. So so this though is a horror film. It's got a guy cutting people's skin off, wearing the skin dresses. It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre meshed with like a police procedural, Federal Bureau of Investigation procedural, and you follow Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling, and she's kind of new to the FBI, and she gets put on this case, and she has to go to this maximum security prison to see this nut job called Hannibal Lecter, because he has this insight. He has this he's an expert in the field of psychopaths and serial killers, and so she gets his help to help her find I'm not describing this well, but he aids her investigation in a way to try to get inside the mind of the serial killer she's on the hunt of, the serial killer named Buffalo Bill. Oh man, the name of the guy who plays Buffalo Bill escapes me. He was actually in, what's so funny is he was in a Michael Mann movie later on in Heat. He pops up here and there. He's a really great character actor. And of course, the big line remembrance, other than from this film, other than I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. And then he goes, or whatever, he does that, and everyone remembers that. But then the other thing that people remember is Buffalo Bill saying, "It puts the lotion in the basket, or else it gets the hose again." That thing, that guy. And I can't do his voice good. It's like, is she a great big fat person? It's like, it's a kind of deep, but he's also kind of lispy, but not. And this guy he's got the long hair, but he's got the kind of poofy, curly, with the hairline, long hair that was big in the 80s, and he's kind of got a truck driver look to him when he's not wearing skin dresses. And then he's got this cute little poodle. He kidnaps women and he puts them in a well, and then he brings the poodle with and has the poodle help out with his adventure. His little projects. So he doesn't see these women that he's kidnapping as human beings. So that's why he says it puts the lotion in the basket. He's telling the kidnapped woman to rub lotion on her skin, because he's going to use her skin for a skin dress. This is very, very grotesque. How is this not considered a horror movie by some people? It's very grotesque. So she's in the well. He kidnaps overweight women and starves them, so that their skin gets loose and stretchy, and it's easier for him to stitch into a dress. Sick stuff. Thomas Harris, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's a very tense thriller. It's got a lot of shocking moments, and it's very quotable. And it deserved all of the Oscar attention that it received that year. The performances are top-notch. Anthony Hopkins would go on to reprise his role as Hannibal Lecter in the sequel, the official sequel, Hannibal, which is also based off of another Thomas Harris book, directed this time by Ridley Scott. Jodie Foster did not come back this time. Julianne Moore replaced her as Clarice Starling. And then he would come back for a final time, Anthony Hopkins, when they remade Manhunter. rather they adapted the Red Dragon book, this time with the Red Dragon title. This movie was directed by Brett Ratner, of all people, and some people think it's great, and it's definitely the best Brett Ratner movie. Other people think it's like, wow, this is probably shouldn't have been done, and it's just an obvious cash grab. So, long story short, I just went into a whole fucking thing. I'm supposed to be going very quick with this, a long story short, too late, right? All right, here we go. So we got, Silence of the Lambs is, let's see, it's definitely not Memories Are Better. No way this beast of a movie is a guilty pleasure. Okay, so it's between What a Movie and classic. I gotta be honest with you, I don't really have the attachment to this film that a lot of people do. I guess I do prefer Manhunter in a lot of ways. I'm a big Michael Mann fan, but I have to see this movie again. I've seen it a few times, but I haven't seen it in a while. So if I saw it again, I would probably, this movie is, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Even though, like, if it's like, oh, you want to watch a Hannibal movie? Which one are we going to watch? It would be Hannibal. It would be Hannibal. It's just really cool and gothic and out there and the Ridley Scott of it all. Or Manhunter. For similar reasons. Silence of the Lambs is in a lot of ways a straightforward procedural, which is great. I mean, it's a very extreme, horrific one, but it is. And that either appeals to you or not. I used to watch a lot of Law and Order growing up. It has its place, but I don't mean to disrespect this movie. I'm not trying to, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do though. This is the first horror film of all time to, and I think the only one since. No, yeah, I think so. To win Best Picture at the Oscars. It caused a stir. It started a whole bunch of stuff. It's a trailblazer and a half, so this movie's a classic. I don't care if I'm not like over the moon about it. It's a good movie, maybe a great one. So, but when you factor in all the history and the performances and everything, there's no way that I can, in good conscience, put it any lower than classic. So that means that it will be in considerations for top 10 when I sit down to do the list.